There is a secret attitude, a state of mind so powerful that it can turn defeat into progress, doubt into faith, and obstacles into stepping stones. I call it the habit of acting as if everything always works out. At first hearing, this may sound like blind optimism, perhaps even foolishness, but it is not. It is the most practical strategy a man or woman can adopt, for it harnesses the greatest of all mental powers, faith in motion. Life is not shaped by conditions alone. Two men may face the same problem, and one will collapse in fear, while the other rises in courage. What makes the difference? It is the way each man interprets his situation. The fearful man says, "This cannot be done. The odds are too great, and I will surely fail." The confident man says, "This challenge is only temporary, and I will find a way." Both men are right, for each is simply setting the law of habit and thought to work on his behalf. To act as if everything always works out is to refuse the language of defeat. It is to meet each circumstance with the unshakable conviction that you will emerge stronger. This does not mean you will never encounter trouble. It does not mean every plan will succeed on the first attempt. But it does mean that every difficulty will be turned into a stepping stone, every setback into a lesson, and every apparent defeat into a greater victory, because your mind is fixed on the outcome of triumph. You may wonder, does this not border on self-deception? No, for when you act as if things will work out, you are not denying reality, you are shaping it. You are giving orders to your subconscious mind, which in turn directs your actions, your courage, and your persistence. The man who acts as if he cannot fail will attempt things that the timid man never dares. And often, it is in the attempt itself that success is found. Consider the power of a smile in the face of hardship. The man who wears a defeated expression, who carries the posture of despair, broadcasts weakness to the world. Others sense it and withdraw. But the man who holds his head high, who speaks with confidence, who acts as though the outcome is already assured, he attracts allies, he inspires trust, he finds doors opening before him. This is not luck. It is the natural response of the world to the vibration of certainty. And so I say to you, begin now to cultivate this attitude. When doubt whispers in your ear, answer it with faith. When obstacles appear, act as though they are temporary detours guiding you to a better road. When you face rejection, act as though it is only redirection toward the right opportunity. Let your every word, your every gesture, your every decision carry the assumption that everything will work out in your favor. For in truth, life tends to give us what we expect. Expect defeat, and you will find it. Expect success, and the law of habit, the law of attraction, and the law of opportunity will combine to deliver it. Act as if everything always works out, and soon you will discover that it does. When you act as if everything always works out, you are not pretending, you are programming. You are programming your subconscious mind to expect the best, and expectation is the forerunner of manifestation. What you expect with faith, backed by steady action, soon becomes your reality. The man who expects defeat unconsciously looks for it, interprets events in its favor, and sabotages his own efforts. The man who expects victory interprets the same events differently. He sees in every setback a sign that success is near, and he finds ways to press forward when others give up. The greatest victories in history were won not by men who were free of doubt, but by men who acted as if success was inevitable. Think of the explorer who set sail into seas unmapped, acting as if land lay ahead, though no proof was in sight. Think of the inventor who faced 1,000 failures but acted as if the 1,001st trial would bring success. Think of the leader who rallied his people in the darkest hour, speaking with the confidence of one who knew the dawn was coming. Their power was not that they could see the future, it was that they chose to act as though the outcome were assured. This habit builds resilience. When you decide that everything will work out, you begin to interpret failure differently. Failure is no longer an end, it is merely part of the process. You look at mistakes as tuition paid for wisdom. You see delays not as denials but as preparations. The energy that once would have gone into despair now flows into persistence. Your mind refuses to dwell on endings and insists on looking for beginnings. And here lies the beauty. People around you feel this energy. They sense it in your tone, in your walk, in the light, in your eyes. They are drawn to it, for everyone hungers for certainty in an uncertain world. Opportunities come to those who radiate confidence because others trust them to succeed. Doors open to those who carry themselves as if they belong in the room. Resources gather to those who act as if their vision is already reality. This is not mysticism, it is the natural law of human attraction. When you step into a room believing everything will work out, you are different. You speak differently. You listen differently. You make decisions boldly, and that boldness inspires faith in others. Even when you do not have the answers, you project the belief that answers will be found. That spirit is contagious. It multiplies. It draws allies. It creates momentum, and it transforms impossible mountains into hills that can be climbed. So I ask you, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would you think if you knew with absolute certainty that everything in your life was working together for your good? Hold that image, then begin to act that way. The law of habit will take over, reinforcing it day by day, until faith is no longer an effort but your natural state. And when that day comes, you will look back in amazement and realize that by acting as if everything always works out, you made it so. The question arises, how do you begin to act as if everything works out when your present circumstances seem dark, when the evidence before your eyes suggests otherwise? The answer is simple, though not always easy. You practice. You practice the posture of faith until it becomes natural. Just as an actor steps onto the stage and plays a role until the audience believes, you step into your own life and play the role of the person you wish to become until your mind believes, and once your mind believes, the law of habit ensures that your reality follows. Begin with your words. Eliminate from your speech the language of doubt. Refuse to say, I cannot, or it never works, or I am unlucky. Replace them with the language of certainty. Say, this will pass. Say, I will find a way. Say, everything is unfolding for my good. At first it may feel unnatural, as though you are lying to yourself. But understand, your subconscious cannot tell the difference between truth and imagination. It only accepts repetition. And soon, the repetition of positive expectation will crowd out the old grooves of despair. Next, attend to your body. The body speaks a language the world understands instantly. Shoulders slumped, eyes cast down, voice trembling. These are the signals of defeat. Lift your head. Straighten your posture. Speak with energy and confidence, even if you must borrow it at first. Walk into every room as though you belong there, as though good fortune is seeking you. In time, your body will teach your mind, and your mind will teach your circumstances. Then, take small acts of courage. Fear whispers, wait until you are ready. Faith replies, act and readiness will come. Make the call you have delayed. Begin the project you have postponed. Offer the idea you have hidden. Each small act in the spirit of as if strengthens the groove of courage until it becomes automatic. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the habit of acting in spite of fear. Surround yourself with symbols of certainty. Write your goals where you can see them daily. Fill your environment with reminders of where you are going, not where you have been. If you desire abundance, keep before your eyes images of prosperity. If you desire health, place before you signs of vitality. If you desire peace, cultivate surroundings that quiet the mind. The world around you is the stage set upon which your mind rehearses its lines. Make sure the set matches the play you wish to perform. Most of all, persist. At first, this practice may feel like pretending. You may act with confidence while doubt gnaws at your heart. You may speak words of victory while fear whispers otherwise. But repetition is the great engraver. Every time you act as if, you are carving deeper grooves. And soon, what was once effort will become natural. You will no longer be playing a role, you will be living it. Remember this, the world does not respond to what you hope for, it responds to what you project. Act as if everything always works out, and life will rise to meet your faith. The universe is not moved by hesitation, but by conviction. And conviction, even when practiced before it is felt, eventually becomes reality. The principle of acting as if everything always works out is not separate from the great laws of life. It is their practical application. When you act as if success is inevitable, you are aligning yourself with the law of belief, the law of habit, and the law of cosmic order all at once. You are creating the grooves into which your mind and your actions naturally fall. Belief is the seed, but action is the water. A man may believe in his heart that he is destined for greater things, but unless he acts in harmony with that belief, he gains nothing. Acting as if transforms belief into behavior and behavior into habit. Once a habit is formed, cosmic habit force takes over, and your subconscious does the work without conscious strain. That is why so many people of modest beginnings rise to great heights. They formed the habit of thinking, speaking, and acting as if success were certain, and the law honored their persistence. To act as if is not to deny present reality, it is to refuse to be confined by it. Present reality is nothing but the harvest of yesterday's habits. If you do not like the harvest, you must plant different seeds. Each time you speak confidently in the face of doubt, each time you take bold action in the face of fear, you are planting new seeds. The law will not resist you. It will nurture them until they become your new reality. Some will say, "But what if I fail? What if things do not work out as I hoped?" And I reply, acting as if everything works out does not mean you will never face setbacks. It means that you will interpret those setbacks as temporary detours, not permanent defeats. It means you will continue to walk forward, certain that the final outcome is in your favor. And when you adopt this posture, even so-called failures serve you. They teach, they redirect, they refine. Nothing is wasted in a mind that acts with faith. You must understand also the role of imagination. The greatest victories are first rehearsed in the theater of the mind. When you imagine yourself succeeding, when you walk, talk, and think in harmony with that vision, you are impressing your subconscious with a blueprint. The subconscious, obedient and impartial, accepts that blueprint and seeks to reproduce it in your external world. This is why the man who consistently imagines defeat finds it, and the man who consistently imagines victory creates it. The world is but a reflection of the pictures we hold most persistently. This principle explains why enthusiasm is so contagious. A man who acts with certainty that everything works out radiates energy. Others feel it, respond to it, and often lend him their support, not because he has convinced them with logic, but because his conviction is undeniable. Faith in action is magnetic. It draws people, resources, and opportunities into its orbit. The timid call it luck, but it is nothing more than the natural law of attraction responding to a definite state of mind expressed through action. So let me remind you, when you act as if everything always works out, you are not playing a child's game of make-believe. You are giving commands to the most powerful forces of your mind and the universe. You are writing the script that habit will memorize, that faith will energize, and that reality will fulfill. Persistence is the lifeblood of success, and nothing fuels persistence more effectively than the conviction that everything is working in your favor. When a man acts as if all outcomes are ultimately for his good, he does not give up at the first sign of difficulty. He keeps moving, because in his mind there is no such thing as failure, only progress disguised as temporary defeat. Imagine two men facing the same obstacle. One sees it as proof that he should quit, and he does. The other, acting as if success is inevitable, interprets the obstacle as a test of strength, a lesson, or even a hidden opportunity. The obstacle may be the same, but the interpretations are worlds apart. One man stops, the other grows stronger, and in time, the difference in their destinies becomes vast. This habit of acting as if has a magnetic quality. It draws possibilities to you that others overlook. When you carry yourself with confidence, doors open that remain closed to the hesitant. People feel safe trusting you, investing in you, following your lead. Opportunities often go not to the man with the greatest talent, but to the man who acts with the greatest certainty. That certainty is contagious. It reassures the fearful, it inspires the doubtful, and it rallies the undecided. Understand this: life rarely gives its prizes to the one who hesitates. Fortune is attracted to boldness. The man who acts with the spirit of as if steps forward while others wait. He reaches out while others doubt. He takes the first move while others remain paralyzed. And because he moves, he discovers openings that never appear to those standing still. He is not always the most skilled or the most knowledgeable, but he is the most ready. And readiness, coupled with persistence, often outweighs skill alone. When you act as if everything always works out, you also build resilience against criticism. The timid man collapses under the weight of others' doubts, but the man who holds the posture of faith listens politely and keeps marching. He knows that others' opinions are shaped by their own fears and habits. He refuses to surrender his destiny to their limitations. His persistence in the face of disapproval only deepens his conviction, and soon the same people who doubted him stand amazed at his results. This practice also sharpens your creativity. When you assume success is certain, your mind searches for solutions instead of excuses. Instead of asking, "Can this be done?" you ask, "How can it be done?" That small shift unleashes imagination. It opens new pathways and ideas that would remain hidden to the man who has already surrendered. Acting as if keeps the mind alive with possibility, and a mind alive with possibility is the most powerful tool in the world. So remember, persistence is not merely the ability to continue, it is the ability to continue with confidence. It is to march forward not with desperation, but with assurance. That assurance is cultivated by acting as if every step, every trial, every delay is part of the plan working in your favor. Hold that mindset, and you will discover that the world bends toward your faith. When you act as if everything always works out, you are not only shaping your own destiny, you are influencing everyone around you. Human beings are deeply responsive to the attitudes of others. We borrow courage from those who radiate confidence, and we absorb fear from those who project doubt. In this way, your posture of faith becomes more than a personal advantage. It becomes a service to your community, your family, your colleagues. Think of a leader in a moment of crisis. If he trembles, his followers scatter. If he hesitates, they falter. But if he stands tall, speaks firmly, and acts as though victory is certain, they rally to him with renewed energy. His belief becomes their belief. His calmness becomes their calmness. His vision becomes their vision. In truth, he has no more knowledge of the future than they do, but by acting as if all is well, he creates the emotional climate that allows all to endure. The same principle applies in business, in family, in friendship. A father who acts as if his family's needs will be met fills his household with peace instead of anxiety. A teacher who acts as if every student can learn inspires effort in those who once doubted themselves. An employer who acts as if the company will thrive during hard times sparks ingenuity and determination in his workers. The posture of faith is not selfish, it is generous. It spreads stability wherever it is displayed. But let us be clear, this is not arrogance. Acting as if everything works out is not about pretending to have all the answers or denying real challenges. It is about carrying yourself with the conviction that challenges can be solved, answers can be found, and solutions will appear in due time. People sense the difference. They reject arrogance, but they crave assurance. And the man who embodies assurance naturally attracts followers, partners, and allies. There is also a spiritual dimension to this principle. When you act as if all things are working together for your good, you demonstrate faith in a higher order of life. Whether you call it providence, infinite intelligence, or simply the natural laws of the universe, you are acknowledging that the world is not random chaos, but an orderly system in which persistence and faith bear fruit. That attitude alone changes how others see you. You become a source of strength not only to yourself, but to all who meet you. Ask yourself, do people leave your presence feeling heavier or lighter? Do they sense possibilities or problems? Do they walk away discouraged or inspired? The answer depends not on your circumstances, but on your posture. If you act as if everything always works out, they cannot help but feel uplifted. You become a living reminder that life can be trusted, that the future is not to be feared, that perseverance is worthwhile. And here is the paradox. The more you strengthen others with this energy, the more it returns to you. Encouragement multiplies. Confidence circulates. The world reflects back to you the attitude you project. By helping others believe, you reinforce your own belief. By carrying yourself as though success is certain, you not only magnetize opportunities, you create a ripple effect that strengthens the faith of everyone around you. So remember, acting as if is not just a private discipline, it is a public duty. The man or woman who lives with this mindset becomes a builder of courage, a giver of hope, and a fountain of resilience in a world that constantly tests the human spirit. There comes a moment in every practice when pretending gives way to being. At first, acting as if is a conscious choice. You remind yourself to straighten your shoulders, to speak with conviction, to replace doubt with words of faith. It feels like effort, as though you are playing a role that does not quite fit, but with repetition, the law of habit takes over. Soon, you no longer remind yourself, you simply live it. The role becomes reality, and the act becomes your nature. This is how character is built. No man is born courageous, disciplined, or optimistic. These qualities are cultivated by consistent action until they settle into the subconscious and flow without strain. The timid man becomes brave, not because fear vanishes, but because he has rehearsed courage so many times that it becomes automatic. The pessimist becomes hopeful because he has trained himself to interpret events as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. What began as acting as if has hardened into character, and character is destiny. When you reach this stage, life begins to reflect your inner transformation. Opportunities seem to appear more often. People respond differently to you. Circumstances begin to align with your vision. To the outside observer, it looks like fortune has suddenly favored you. But in truth, you have been shaping this outcome all along. The world is a mirror, and once your inner posture is fixed, the outer reflection must follow. This shift also brings peace of mind. A man who lives by chance is always anxious, forever questioning what the future holds. But the man who has trained himself to believe that everything works out is calm, even in storms. He does not deny difficulty, but he trusts his ability to navigate it. He sleeps without worry, rises with purpose, and faces each day with quiet strength. His peace is not naive. It is earned through discipline of thought and action. Understand this: life will still test you. Acting as if everything works out does not shield you from trials, but it transforms how you meet them. You will experience setbacks, but they will not unsettle you. You will face delays, but you will treat them as preparation. You will encounter critics, but their words will not pierce your conviction. This is the true power of habit. Your automatic response is faith, not fear. And as your habits change, so too does your identity. You cease to see yourself as a struggler, barely surviving. You begin to see yourself as a builder, a creator, a master of circumstances. This shift in identity is the turning point. For once a man changes how he sees himself, the world has no choice but to follow. So let this principle sink deeply. What you practice, you become. And when you practice the posture of faith long enough, you no longer act, you embody. Acting as if everything always works out becomes simply living in the truth that it does. When you carry yourself with the certainty that everything always works out, you create a field of influence far greater than you realize. People, resources, and circumstances are drawn to you because you radiate stability in a world that constantly trembles with doubt. This is not superstition, it is psychology, it is habit, it is the law of cause and effect. Every man and woman hungers for assurance. When they see it in you, they are naturally attracted to it. They trust the leader who speaks with conviction, they follow the colleague who believes in the project, they support the entrepreneur who acts as though success is inevitable. Your posture of faith becomes a magnet. Opportunities that would have bypassed you now stop at your door because they sense in you the strength to carry them through. Think of this in daily life. When you walk into a room believing everything is working for your good, people feel it before you speak. Your tone is steadier, your smile more genuine, your presence more commanding. You are no longer asking, "Will I be accepted?" You are declaring silently, I belong here. That declaration changes the way others respond. They see you as someone worth listening to, worth trusting, worth supporting. This energy also transforms challenges into allies. A man who believes things will fail crumbles at the first sign of resistance. But the man who acts as if every resistance is part of the plan greets it with confidence. He says, "This too is working in my favor. This delay is preparing me. This obstacle is sharpening me." That attitude shifts his perception, and perception shifts his action. Instead of retreating, he advances, and the obstacle bends to his persistence. Remember, the world mirrors your expectations. The man who expects betrayal finds it, often because his suspicion drives others away. The man who expects cooperation receives it, because his confidence invites collaboration. The law is simple. Life tends to give us not what we wish for in weakness, but what we expect in strength. Acting as if is the most powerful way to train that expectation until it becomes unshakable. Do not underestimate how far this ripple spreads. A family guided by one person who acts as if all things are working out becomes calmer, more hopeful, more united. A team led by one individual with this posture becomes resilient, creative, unstoppable. Even strangers, meeting you for the first time, feel uplifted by your energy. You become, without even trying, a living advertisement for faith. This is why the practice must be sincere and consistent. You cannot project confidence for an hour and then retreat into doubt for a week. The law of habit requires repetition. The more you rehearse the posture of as if, the deeper it engraves itself into your subconscious. In time, it ceases to be a performance and becomes your natural state. And when faith is natural, the world responds as if it were fact. So, I say to you, walk as if everything is unfolding in your favor. Speak as if success is already in motion. Act as if the best outcome is not just possible but certain. In doing so, you will not only change your own destiny, you will draw countless others into the orbit of your faith. To act as if everything always works out is not merely a technique you use when times are hard, it is a way of life. It is the steady habit of interpreting every event, every meeting, every challenge as part of a larger plan that bends in your favor. When you live this way, each day ceases to be a random collection of accidents. Each day becomes a chapter in a story that is unfolding for your ultimate good. At first, this mindset may require effort. You may need to remind yourself constantly, this too is working for me. You may need to correct the old habit of worry, to interrupt the cycle of fear, to replace complaint with gratitude. But persistence reshapes identity. And once identity shifts, you no longer struggle to believe you simply are the person who knows that life works out. That shift is the point of transformation. When you reach this stage, something profound happens. You begin to anticipate success as naturally as you once anticipated problems. Your first thought when faced with difficulty is not, "Why me?" but, "How will this serve me?" Your default response is no longer frustration, but curiosity. And in that curiosity lies the seed of creativity. You search for solutions instead of excuses, for lessons instead of losses, for stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. This shift creates a cycle of strength. Acting as if everything works out leads you to persistence. Persistence produces results. Results reinforce your faith. Faith deepens the habit of acting as if. Soon, the cycle is self-sustaining, and you live in a momentum that is almost unstoppable. The same law that once chained you to worry now carries you forward with effortless power because you have harnessed it to your advantage. There is also freedom in this way of living. When you no longer fear failure, you are free to act boldly. You take chances others avoid, you speak where others stay silent, you step forward where others hesitate, and because you act, you discover paths hidden to the timid. Freedom from fear is the foundation of greatness, and it is earned through the habit of faith in action. Do not mistake this for naive blindness. Acting as if everything always works out does not mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to be limited by it. Reality is but today's harvest. Faith in action plants the seeds of tomorrow. The farmer does not despair when his field is empty after planting. He knows the harvest is coming. So too does the man of faith walk forward when results are unseen, knowing the law will not fail him. And perhaps the greatest reward of this principle is peace of mind. You no longer live chained to anxiety about tomorrow. You live in the calm assurance that whatever tomorrow brings, you will turn it to your advantage. That peace is priceless. It adds years to your life, clarity to your mind, joy to your relationships, and energy to your work. The man who knows that everything works out is never truly defeated, never truly shaken, never truly poor. He carries wealth within him, the wealth of certainty. So I say to you, do not treat this principle as a temporary strategy. Make it the very foundation of your character. Train your words, your posture, your thoughts, your decisions to declare one thing: that everything is unfolding for your good. In time, you will find that the world echoes your conviction. What once felt like faith will be confirmed as fact. Let us now bring this principle to its conclusion. To act as if everything always works out is more than a mental trick. It is a philosophy of life, a method of aligning yourself with the great laws of nature, and a practical key to peace of mind, persistence, and success. Think of the countless hours you have wasted in worry, in doubt, in rehearsing disasters that never came. What did that worry accomplish? Did it solve a problem? Did it open a door? Did it strengthen your courage? No, it only weakened you, drained your energy, and blinded you to opportunity. Now imagine if every one of those hours had been spent acting as if the outcome was already in your favor. Imagine the energy you would have carried, the opportunities you would have noticed, the allies you would have attracted. That is the power waiting for you when you embrace this principle fully. To act as if is to choose faith over fear, action over hesitation, purpose over drift. It is to plant your feet firmly and declare, "This is working for me," even when the winds blow against you. And by that declaration, you transform the storm from an enemy into a teacher, from a setback into a stepping stone. You do not deny reality, you elevate it. Remember, habit is destiny. If you practice despair, despair will be your companion. If you practice hope, hope will guide you. If you practice doubt, doubt will paralyze you. If you practice faith, faith will empower you. Acting as if everything always works out is simply the deliberate practice of faith until it becomes your second nature. Once it becomes habit, cosmic habit force takes over, and life itself seems to conspire in your favor. Do not wait for proof before you act. Proof is the harvest, not the seed. The man who waits for evidence of success before he behaves like a success will wait forever. The man who acts like a success plants the seed that produces the harvest. The farmer does not demand to see the crop before he sows. He sows because he believes in the law of growth. So too must you sow the seeds of faith through action, trusting the law of habit, the law of attraction, and the law of persistence to bring you the harvest in due time. And know this: you are not alone in this practice. Every great man and woman who has achieved something worthwhile has lived by this principle, whether they named it or not. The inventor acted as if his experiment would work, even after 1,000 failures. The leader acted as if his people could prevail, even in the darkest night. The dreamer acted as if his vision was possible, even when the world called him foolish. Their greatness was not luck, it was the natural result of living in the spirit of as if. So, I charge you today, walk forth into your life with this conviction. Speak as though your words shape reality, because they do. Act as though your steps are guided, because they are. Live as though every circumstance is working for your good, because it can. When doubt arises, remind yourself, this too will serve me. When fear appears, answer it with action. When delay discourages you, treat it as preparation. Let your whole being declare to yourself and to the world that everything always works out. And in time, you will look back and realize that what began as an act became a truth. You will see that your faith created the evidence, that your confidence attracted the opportunities, that your persistence built the success. Acting as if was never a game, it was the foundation of reality. Carry this principle with you, and you will never again be at the mercy of chance. You will be the master of your destiny, the captain of your soul, because you have allied yourself with the greatest force of all, the power of faith in action.